Show, and it's me, RJ. Over yonder is Dan Steele, and we have been telling you this morning that we're going to have a guest with us right after the 8 o'clock news, and that guest is Congressman Glenn Thompson, who represents Pennsylvania's 5th District in the House of Representatives, Huntington to Erie County. Good morning, Congressman Thompson. How are you?
Good morning, RJ. Great to be with you this morning. Nice
to have you here. I was with two of your contemporaries last night, Congressman Perry and Congressman Barletta. So this has been Congress week for me.
No, excellent. You were in good company last night.
I was indeed. Thank you. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the hearing that is coming up, a field hearing in Harrisburg on Monday. The short part of this story is they want to put the northern long-eared bat on the endangered species list. It'll affect Pennsylvania in a big way. Tell us about the hearing and how people can participate.
Well, the hearing begins at 10 a.m. It's going to be at the state capitol, actually, in Harrisburg. This is a field hearing. This is really part of many hearings we've been having. I've been serving as a member of a work group that was put together by Chairman Doc Hastings on the Natural Resource Committee. That's one of my 3 committee assignments. And really, this work group is looking at the Endangered Species Act, and which has been in place since 1973. There's been 1,500 species listed, but the act has only had a 2% success rate. By all measures, that's a failure. While at the same time, it has just wreaked economic havoc on industries and communities that where the habitat itself was not a factor in the listing of these species. And there's just a lot of flawed problems. And the most recent, really, threat is with the northern long-eared bat. That is a bat that Pennsylvania has. And this is actually, if this is listed as endangered species, RJ, this would impact 38 states in the United States. And it's really classic and speaks to what is flawed about the Endangered Species Act. This is not based on some science or data. This is based on a settlement of a mega lawsuit back in 2011 where the Fish and Wildlife Service has succumbed to pressure from environmental groups who had everything to gain and nothing to lose, that forced the hand of the Fish and Wildlife Service to add that they were required to come up with a determination on 799 additional species.
Well, let me ask you this. Let's talk about the direct effect here in Pennsylvania. What industries will be affected?
Well, any industry really has to do with land, which you can imagine is almost everything. Everything from certainly the forestry industry. We're Penn's Woods. We have more trees today than what we did originally in Pennsylvania, and by best estimates, they would limit the timbering to only 6 months out of the year. Talk about devastating a legacy industry in Pennsylvania, one that is so important to keeping healthy forests.
Plus, if it has to do with bat activity, I'm assuming that it would be the worst months of the year. In other words, when the bats are hibernating underground.
Well, here's the thing. Even the Fish and Wildlife Service admit that the habitat has nothing to do with what's threatening the bats. It's a disease. It's not a habitat. It's the white nose syndrome, which essentially, if you sum it down, you boil it down, the bats from this disease are too tired to reproduce. And not all of them are reproducing. There are some that are, but it's diminished the numbers. And it's a significant concern that, I work with our state bat biologists that we have with Fish and Game, but it really has the consensus is it has nothing to do with habitat. And that's what the purpose of this hearing is just to provide some transparency and look at what would the consequences be if they list these species as endangered and then limit access and land management from these areas. So it's agriculture, it's energy, it's housing, it's shopping centers, it's anything that involves land would be significantly impeded, and the economic impact of that. So we're just looking for some transparency here, bring some science and data.
All right. So, folks, what time is the hearing on Monday? Where and folks can show up? Correct?
Yeah, that's correct. It's 10 a.m. at the State Capitol in Harrisburg, and it's in hearing room number 1 in the North Building.
Okay. All right, Congressman Thompson, thanks for taking the time, and thanks for fighting the good fight, because I agree with you on this 100%. That's why we wanted to have you on today, so I appreciate it.
RJ, much appreciated. You take care. Have a great day.